Well, hello. It's early in the morning here. I've been up for a few hours. Uh, who am I? My name is Ethan Dean, and I've got some new subscribers. All of a sudden, just one interview, I got 42 subscribers in a day, just over a day. And so I've been averaging about 70 new subscribers a month since I hit 200 subscribers. So this is a special thank you to all of you that take the time to watch my videos, and and that tells me that you're serious. You're serious about being fed up with the corruption and the treason. So I'm I'm going to take a few minutes here to tell you a little bit about who I am, what what I've gone through, and why I'm here saying the things that I'm saying. So in 2015, I discovered gum tissue rejuvenation with marijuana. I have it documented by an independent dentist that I didn't know at the time. I had never met this dentist. And within weeks of me having the evidence in my hand, the servants came and raided me, businesses, yeah, and my home, and they completely ignored the court order, which was to take everything related to marijuana, which they left most of that, and but they took a lot of other things like my guns and my vehicles and seized my bank accounts and took a brand new TV that was in the box. I don't watch television, but I like to watch a movie once in a while. And uh, anyways, a lot of things like that. And at the time here in Michigan, um, shops were getting raided and they'd reopen while they were still in court. And they expected me to do the same thing, I think. And they were going to come back and say, well, look, this boy hasn't learned a thing. He's bigger than ever. Look at all this stuff he's got now. We just raided him and look at this, right? So, anyways, the government has been working really hard to suppress this information. When I discovered gum tissue rejuvenation, it was written in the United States National Library of Medicine that if you have lost gum tissue, it's gone forever and it's not coming back. And Colgate was advertising with that. So I've got over 140 videos now on YouTube. I have a series. The first one is connecting the dots, and then connecting the dots 2, 3, 4 lays out the bad actors and what the actions that they've taken. It was just about a year ago that I started dealing with our rights, and my first time being involved in freedom movement, period. Except it was just me trying to figure out how to move forward. I didn't even really realize all that's been going on, all that has gone on. I was as asleep as anybody. So I've been on a massive accelerated learning curve, and I have done a lot. So I held court with the DEA. First, I did a petition, a very good petition. It's one of my first videos. Petition the DEA to classify cannabis as essential for human health. If it wasn't so serious, it would be a comedy. It's very good. I followed protocol for that petition. I had to study hard for that. And yet they absolutely ignored it. So has Governor Snyder, former Governor Snyder, acting Governor Snyder, former acting Governor Snyder. Treasonous Democrat bar member Gretchen Whitmer acting as governor for Michigan, completely ignores it. Yet, while locking down the state, classifies cannabis business as essential. You know, there's no, there is absolutely no truth in, in a in our governance. It's all been usurped by the bar. In the description of this video, or the details of this video, is a lot of information. There's a link to the People's Bureau of Investigation Telegram channel. It's the People's Bureau of Investigation is a awesome organization, and any one of you can be an agent. Absolutely, and it's your duty. And Tim Dever and Rob Emerson are a couple of great men that I've had the pleasure of engaging with as I've pushed forward with the issue of dealing with your sheriff. And I've been to the Kalkaska County Sheriff June last year, June 28th, as the prosecutor. And I had many court cases where the defendant has admitted to charges of treason in open court, the highest court, the people's court, way up here, way above the three branches of government and these administrative courts, these treasonous administrative courts. So there's a link there to get you to the People's Bureau of Investigation Telegram channel. There's probably another link I should add. I've got to check that out. So there was a notice of treason that was sent to acting Sheriff Mack, constitutional promoter, supposedly, when he just collects those that want to be constitutional and gives them false teachings. So Sheriff Mack is being called out. I've been calling him out. I've got videos on this. People's Bureau of Investigation has got some recent videos out on this. Sheriff Mack, acting Sheriff Mack, refused service. He knew what was coming, and he's very upset. And I imagine he's going to be hiding and not out promoting his treasonous BS anymore. So the notice of treason went to the head of the Sheriff's Association with an order to disseminate it to all associations and all sheriff's departments. And it looks like that didn't get done. So now there's there's some new things that have happened. Okay, there's another completely independent court, and specials. I want to say special statutes, strict statutes. That's it, strict statutes. There's a lot of them. There's a lot more than just the sheriffs that are going to have warrants for their arrest. And any citizen, any man can arrest these people. We have the highest authority. We are the highest law enforcers. And we assemble for judicial and legislative counsel for law, the highest law. This is not for our servants to do. The bar, I believe it was the late 1800s, the American Bar Association was formed. One of their primary objectives was setting the academic standards, and you can see they've done a marvelous job for themselves and for the Queen. In 1831, there were two parties: the anti-Masonic Party. I want to get this right. The Anti-Masonic Party and the National Republican Party, I believe. So let's see. The Anti-Masonic Party and the National Republican Party had held the first presidential nominating conventions in 1831. And Jackson's kitchen cabinet helped organize a Democratic convention in 1832. Now, it's the Democrats, the bar, the Jesuits that have enslaved us through false teachings, false education, the education we get from our parents and our grandparents, the education we get in school, universities, higher learning. It's all BS when it comes to your history, our history. So I have nothing for sale. I don't do webinars and charge for it. I don't do templates and charge for it. And, but I offer everything for free. So my intellectual property on formulating cannabis for oral health, to rejuvenate your lost gum tissue, to remove calcified plaques, to prevent calcified plaques, to prevent gum tissue loss. I offer that all for free. My trade secrets and my patent. Because I was pursuing international patents from day one. But the system, with their constant attacks and traps, it beat me out of international patents. However, I've got them. All right, I got the examiner interfering in my case. I got the emails. I got the phone records. And I got more than that. I got a case won. But we don't have justice because we don't have law enforcement, because our sheriffs are treasonous rats working with the bar in administrative courts. They got their bailiffs in there. They're out there arresting and jailing free men and women without a warrant from a grand jury of the people, just to be stopped. A warrant from a grand jury of the people must be issued to the sheriff, because that's the structure of our governance. We got the creator, created man. That's natural law. With natural law, man created free government. That's your assemblyman. Your assemblymen create law, judicial and legislative law for the three equal branches of government way down here. You come up a level, the sheriff is not part of that three branches of government. He's above it. Above that is your grand jury of we the people. Above that is your assemblymen. And above that is we the people. We have all power. Yet this is not what we're taught. Bar, agents, private foreign entity, private member association. And yet you're taught your vote matters. You're taught that you elect your sheriff, that you elect your president, that you elect your legislators, when in reality you don't. And we have good men, male and female, that go to law school because they've got good intentions. They want to do the right thing. It's not until they're heavily in debt that they find out the trap they stepped into. That doesn't excuse them for staying in it. To know treason and not call it out is treason. To know fraud and not call it out is fraud. Our governments are warring with us. In war, there is no law, fiction or otherwise, administrative or otherwise. Legal is administrative. The word legal should be classified, in my opinion, in the words you do not use in front of children and ladies. That's how bad a word legal is, in my opinion. And it should be replaced with what it is, administrative. All right, what else have I got in the description of this video? I got a link to the AFR.org, the American First Republic, the National Assembly. It's got a post office, it's got a newspaper. Treasury's getting ready to print coin. The people came together and in bilateral social compact agreement have amended the Articles of Confederation and enacted them. The 48 contiguous states have been populated. Every state is its own nation. The U.S. Constitution has been just turned against y'all, so it has no standing in law. That's really all you need to know. The U.S. Constitution has no standing in law. They can legal this, legal that all day long. Legal is not your jurisdiction. That's administrative. Way down here. You're way up here. But that's not what you're taught. And that's not what our sheriffs are doing. Sheriffs are supposed to be peacekeepers and protecting your rights, not trampling and trespassing and taking your money as pay to do it. We are the highest law enforcers. we can arrest these people and jail them. I've done several talks about the meaning of words, what they meant to our forefathers. I get into the etymology and the history. I don't think I've mentioned this on any of my videos, but I, this might be a good time. You know, the Flintstones. We're going to have a gay old time. There was nothing homosexual or perverted about the Flintstones that I recall. But that's how much words get changed. That's just an example that I think most everybody listening can relate to. Mark Christopher says it pretty good. It's a toxic language. And I was just on Mark Christopher's show, and that's where some of the new subscribers found me. But Mark didn't offer up any contact information for me. The interview ended kind of abruptly and caught me off guard. And I didn't say my website, my Telegram channels, my YouTube channel. And the day before, I was listening to Mark Christopher. He had a fellow on, an American by the name of Sean. And Mark Christopher kept saying, I don't know that I'm getting my message heard. Maybe that's paraphrasing, but he was concerned that his message was not getting across. And he repeated that. And I'm thinking, I'm really looking forward to tomorrow because I can really help the Americans with that. And yet, it seemed like Mark didn't want to elaborate much on anything that I would say, and wanted to cut me off. And I'm really thankful that he gave me the talk, but I know that I caught him off guard because apparently he had found out about me. He was introduced to me just days before I sent an email. But the way I was introduced was this guy with this issue with cannabis, and maybe with the problems, but not with the actions that I've taken. So the head of the DEA, the head of the USPTO, the man, not the departments, the man, the examiner for the USPTO, Gretchen Whitmer, Sheriff Pat Whiteford, Deputy Wagner, Jail Sergeant Leach, 3 garrison commanders over at Camp Grayling, Sheriff Darleaf and Under Sheriff Jason Sixberry, amongst others, have all agreed to charge of treason in an open court, the highest court. Now, after I served the Kalkaska County Sheriff with the order for arrest and jail for Gretchen Whitmer and several others, all of a sudden the FBI is here in Michigan, some kind of a kidnapping plot for Gretchen that they're exposing. It turns out it was all FBI. And you've got these Michigan men that paid the bar. I understand, or I have knowledge of, have paid $100,000 and more in defense for being set up. Where's the outrage? How much are you people going to take before you stand up and do something? It's fear that holds you back. And the reason you're in fear is because you don't have the knowledge. Knowledge is power. None of these courts have jurisdiction over you unless you give it to them. And they trick you into it. They trick you into it by educating you that you are in that system. They've manipulated everything, yet they have no jurisdiction. And they can't hear you when you're in there. In other words, the words you say, you might as well not even say them because they can't hear you. The dead cannot communicate with the living. So the dead will just use their assumptions and presumptions, and they will change your words. You say, I do not consent. They write down A-Y-A, and then something else, something else. They change it, A, right? They change it. You say, I do not consent. They write down, I am a criminal. I am guilty. Right? They can't hear you. You can't win in there. Occasionally, somebody will win. Oh, and that gets a lot of publicity. Why? Just so that you'll have the confidence to go step in that trap where you won't win. Drag them into your court. That's what you do. That's how you end it. You put a piece of paper in front of these parasites and they crumble. So when the People's Bureau of Investigation, when Rob Emerson and Tim Dever went to the constitutional meeting where Sheriff Darleaf was with his constitutional people, and Tim and Rob walk in to represent my position, there was a lot of concern in that group. Oh, you're getting set up, Dar. It's a deep state. Old Dar's all nervous. And he decides to be a treasonous rat. And then we've got State Representative Dar Rendon for my district calling around asking about me. Yeah. So I've got 2 videos out about Dar Rendon. How come she don't want to talk to me? How come she don't want to help the people? Because they're all treasonous parasites. They are. So the AFR Assembly has maintained the lawful title, the United States of America, with a capital T, capital U, capital S, capital A. Has amended and enacted the Articles of Confederation. The 48 contiguous states are populated. Each state is a nation unto itself. And a bilateral social compact agreement from every state should and will be affected, I'm sure. And then you hold a state convention. So soon I will be holding the state convention for Michigan. Once the agreement is completed, I will introduce it as the spokesman. And after the state convention, it will get published in the paper. After it's in the paper unrebuted for 90 days, it has standing with international law, the law of nations. So this is just an example. I'm not charging. I'm not your leader. I'm just a man, a free man at war. We are at war. In 1775 to 1789, that would be the lawful time period of this nation, the United States of America. Now, these other constitutions, the United States of America with small case T, HE, that's a corporation. All right, the treason and deception that happened, that the history that was buried, and the false education. So we had the anti-Masonic Party and the National Republican Party in 1831. 1832, here come the Democrats. It's not till a generation later that the American Bar Association is formed. See, the people that had the knowledge had to die off. And we didn't have the communications available to us back then the way we have today. And of course, it was manipulated back then, the media, just as it is today. So it's quite an operation that is undertaken, that's being exposed, and it's all so simple. So there's a lot of energy being used to get you going down rabbit holes, chasing after your QSIP account so you can do bills of exchange and write notes and access your public securities that were transferred into the Securities Exchange Commission and traded on the stock market. Well, that's not going to get your government under control. It might help you out for a little bit, but they're going to eat you, and they're going to eat your friends, and they're going to eat your family. So what good does that do you in the long run? Why don't we get everybody's public securities back out of the private? It was stolen from us. All that gold, all that silver, it's somewhere. All those precious metals, it's somewhere. And look at what we've done as a people in the nation. All the infrastructure, all the industry, and it was all done with no money. Just the illusion of money. Imagine how it's going to be when we have money and we have freedom and our ingenuity is not stifled, oppressed, and suppressed, when we're not treated medically with poisons, and we go back to natural healing and advanced healing with vibration, nutrition, clean air, clean water, a whole heck of a lot of less stress, rejuvenation from things like marijuana. If it can rejuvenate a tissue that science cannot rejuvenate, imagine what it does for all your tissues that and cells that do rejuvenate. Well, let's just keep locking people up and putting them in prison. Legalization for marijuana is so insane. It's unlawful to deny it. It's unlawful to regulate it. And all this legal administrative stuff does is make a bunch of bylaws, thousands and thousands of bylaws, and cost. And track it from seed to sale. Tracking. Get you used to tracking. And the marijuana today isn't what it was yesterday. They want to tell you today's marijuana is more potent. It's not. And what it is it's compromised. It's being grown under lights, indoors, where you have a lot of problems. It's chemical fed. It's sprayed with this. It's sprayed with that. You got people getting allergic reactions to cannabis today. That didn't ever happen anytime that I ever knew of. So on my website, oralhealthwithcannabis.com, on the services page, many of my court cases are there. They're available for you to review what I've done, how I've done it. When I went to Camp Grayling as one of the people, I went as the executive emergency manager, and I presented all the evidence. So I have held the position of executive emergency manager for Michigan in a time of war. Gretchen Whitmer admits to warring with the people in an open court of record. So people are afraid to be around Ethan Dean, even to watch my videos. People that know me, they don't want to watch my videos because they are afraid that the FBI is going to come get them. And the people that do watch my videos are afraid to give me a thumbs up or write a comment. And petrified to donate $1. And I do let it be known that I'm looking for donations. We're looking to fund the Constitutional Accountability Committee. I have lawsuits filed ready to serve on 81 sheriffs here in Michigan and deal with the 2 treasonous sheriff's departments as well, with executive orders, assembly join up, grand jury pool join ups to be posted in the lobbies of every sheriff's department, shut down the administrative courts by executive order, expand the sheriff's jurisdiction statewide, unlimited deputizing authority. When the sheriff's got our back, we got their back. Sheriff needs 100 deputies, 1,000 deputies, 10,000 deputies. He's got them. And he's got the sheriff and their deputies from every county in Michigan, because every county in Michigan has jurisdiction of the entire state. So why are you going to allow these sheriffs to keep on dragging you into their jails, before administrative judges, through administrative processes, destroying your life and taking your money and getting paid for it? When is enough going to be enough for you? All right, now I try to make everything real simple. keep it stupidly simple. Because if the stupid can get it, the dumbed down can own it. And we've all been dumbed down. And they want to make you think that this whole thing is so complicated, and it's not. And that's because you got guys like Sheriff Mack. So when people struggle to understand their rights, they go to Sheriff Mack, and he steers them down the primrose path to hell. You got guys like David Jose, one of the best constitutional teachers. You bring up assembly. Oh, I don't want to hear that junk. I only talk about stuff that I know. That's a gatekeeper. There's a lot of them. So it's just this simple. On the services page of the website, there's Americans Notice of Liability. There's also Americans Notice of Liability Corona. You can own either one. You can make it your own. I've done several videos on it. You can go to the AFR.org, go through the steps, become a member of the United States of America. Of the American First Republic Bilateral Social Compact Agreement. It's just that simple. If an American knew what American was, none of these talks, none of this paperwork, none of it would be necessary. And we'd be living free and healthy, and we wouldn't be oppressed. So I just want to thank my new subscribers. I've been getting averaging about 70 a month. And here I picked up 40 some in the last day and a half. So that's really awesome. And I know that the people, they don't know who I am, what I've done, what I'm about. So now you do. And I don't ask for donations often. I let it be known that I'm looking for donations, but I don't often ask. But I'm in a position that I have to ask. My costs aren't much. Electricity, internet, food. What my clothes are rags, and I don't have detergent to wash them. Food supply has not been good, not been healthy, and very sparse at the moment. So I've been managing to limp by the good grace of some people. But here's the crazy part. I believe that the vast majority of that, which hasn't been a lot, has been from my enemies. They do that to get close to me. Now, some of them is obviously not. And I'm not claiming that the donations I received are all from my enemies. There's been some very kind, gracious people, good people, and brave people. It takes bravery to send a little bit of money to Ethan. So if you can send $1 or $5 or $10, it will sure help. And there's 4 ways to donate. The links are in the detailed description of this video. There's a link to Own Your Authority Part 6, where I talk about the American Bar Association being formed. And in the description of that video is a link to an 8th grade test from the late 1800s. Take a look at that and just sit back and reflect on then to now. And realize we're graduating people from high school that can't read or write. And then we're being told, you're not a people, you're not a human, uh, you're not a person, you're not an individual, all these things. Well, all right, you're a man. We've been taught a certain language, and in a free society, communicating the way we've been educating is causing no harm. But it's all designed to have you so tricked up and trapped when you're in those administrative courts, because all those words have been bastardized and toxicized to work against you, written or spoken. And the dead can't hear you. So when you talk law to them, they don't hear it. So don't go into their courts. Drag that man, male or female, into your court and watch how fast it stops. And I've been teaching, serve that Americans Notice of Liability on your sheriff. Now that's a document that's good for any trespass you got to deal with. But one of the most powerful ways to use it is to serve it on your sheriff. And do it, and I say to do it in their lobby under their audio and their video, and you record it yourself. And while you're there, give your sheriff a little bit of a constitutional education, and then order him to end road piracy in your county. Order and demand that he contact all the bylaw officers that are there to administrate commerce and government, to stop warring with the free people, to stop trespassing on the free people. That there's some very stiff penalties. $100,000 for the first trespass, 200,000 for the second, $1 million for the third, and subsequent, and charge of treason with every trespass. So when one of these bylaw officers or law enforcement officers decides they're going to turn their lights on because they want to come get you, well, they turn their lights on and you pull over, slow down so they can pass. They don't pass, they stay on your butt. And now they're trespassing on you. That's their first trespass. Now you come to a stop. You have been arrested. That's what arrest means, to be stopped. There's no warrant from a grand jury of we the people issued to the sheriff to effect that stop. Now it's a trespass when he turned his lights on, because you've been educated that in that situation, you give them room to pass and they don't. It's obvious they want you. They'll run your car off the road. They'll flip your car. They'll take your tires out. All right, you've been intimidated by a man that carries a gun, handcuffs, baton, shotgun, taser, wears boots, helmets, goggles, got a shotgun, radio, backup. You've been intimidated. You've been trespassed. That's treason. Now that man's going to get out of that vehicle and approach you. He's going to stick his thumb or his finger on your car. That's another trespass. Then he's going to come up to your window and give you an order. That's another trespass. You serve that Americans Notice of Liability, and you demand that sheriff end road piracy in your county. And you tell him that if any one of these bylaw officers is handed your notice of liability for the very first time, they've never heard of it, Sheriff, you got culpability because now that man is subject to hang for treason. And pretty much strip all his wealth, leaving his family in poverty because of you, Sheriff. Record it. Send it to the PBI. Send it to me. We've got some great videos, people taking action. So, what's happening with the PBI? Holy cow. This notice goes to 3,080 sheriffs, but it's oppressed and suppressed by those at the top. So now there's a grassroots effort to contact every sheriff's department by phone and record the call, to go in and pin a notice in every sheriff's department and every post office. And there's money as incentive for sheriffs to make the right choice and for deputies to make the right choice. Deputies, you can arrest that sheriff, put him behind bars. $20,000 a month. Unlimited insurance to lawful deputies and sheriffs. Check out the People's Bureau of Investigation. In the meantime, there's this international court, strict statutes and warrants, and arrests are going to be happening. And the truckers need this information. Driving across the country to a foreign land to protest the enemy, drive circles and honk your horns to end a mandate is insane. You truckers, you're so more powerful than that. You control the supply of goods. You can blockade borders. You can blockade airports. You can deal with the sheriff, the coroner, and the county commissioner. You can visit the AFR and join in bilateral social compact. Become a member of the lawful nation. You can. It's just that easy. You can own the Americans Notice of Liability. Set your status, your standing, your jurisdiction before you even breathe a word of testimony, just by coming into court. So I wanted the new subscribers to know a little bit more about me. I know that you're people that are fed up, and you're tired of getting half information on what to do. Own your authority is my advice. Follow the People's Bureau of Investigation, learn about it, become an agent. Check out the American First Republic. www.theafr.org. Go through the steps. Click on the mailboxes as step one. Just follow through. You can find out what it's about. There's a Zoom call every Sunday and every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern time, that you can join. All right, everybody. I know I got more to say, but I'll be back later. So much love. Stay strong. Know who you are, Americans. Own your authority and take action. Hold your servants to account.